Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto was trained by Anko, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Finally, after 10 days training ended, they now started to guard Tazuna and the men who were building the bridge, since they didn't want to take a chance of Zabuza healing and attacking faster than expected. So each day at least one Junin, a Genin and a Kage Bunshin were present at the bridge. In case of an attack, the Kage Bunshin would dispel itself and warn Naruto and the others. When the full 2 weeks were over, all members of the team went to guard Tazuna and the bridge. Naruto did leave several Kage Bunshins at Tazuna's home, since he wouldn't be surprised if they tried to attack Tsunami and Inari when they were gone. When Naruto awoke that morning, he felt restless and he suspected that the battle would happen today. He told everyone how he felt and they made sure to be prepared for the worst. Naruto double-checked everything from his sword to his hip holster that held his throwing knives, just to check everything worked all right. It wouldn't do if in the middle of battle he noticed he had forgotten his sword or something like that. When they left, he made several Kage Bunshins and Bakuretsu Kage Bunshins as backup and as protection for Tsunami and Inari. Better be safe than sorry, he thought. After everything checked out fine, he went outside waiting for the rest of the team. Though it didn't show, he was really nervous about having to fight Zabuza again. No doubt that Hunter Nin would be there as well. He really hoped everything would work out well and that nobody would get hurt or worse, ked. When he was thinking, everybody had gotten ready and joined him outside ready to leave. Everyone nodded the goodbye to Tsunami and she wished him a safe day. Wishing Tsunami a good day as well, the party left for the bridge. The bridge was almost completed, so now was the time for Gato to strike. When they reached the bridge after a peaceful trip without any encounters, they saw that the bridge was filled with wounded or even people. The workmen had arrived some time before and apparently so had Zabuza. Naruto cursed and made a few dozen Kage Bunshins. Alright, listen up. All of you except 10 start moving the injured back to the village and alert them of the danger. Naruto ordered them. Soon the wounded were out of harm's way, making the bridge free for battle. Next, the 10 of you protect Tazuna at all costs. Got him somewhere safe and keep him there. I'll make sure nobody will be able to follow you. Now go quickly, Naruto said, dismissing his clones. Tazuna protested, but in the end there was nothing he could do. Naruto retreated several feet and then used the Doton, Doryu Heiki no Jutsu, to separate Tazuna from the shinobi group by a high and thick mud wall. That way he would be safe from attacks and they wouldn't have to concentrate on protecting him. Also, with the number of Kage Bunshin that were guarding him, there was no way he would get hurt. Good thinking, Naruto. With the wounded and Tazuna out of the way, we won't have to worry about them. We can fight without holding back, Shino said. Naruto nodded and then focused his attention to the other side of the bridge, where he was sure Zabuza and his accomplice were waiting for them. So with as much courage as he could gather, he took a step forward and the rest followed. After a minute of walking, Zabuza and the Huntermen came into view, but with them were about 30 common thugs who were waiting to attack the village. They hadn't even thought of the fact that Zabuza would have such a number of men at his disposal. This complicated things. Alright, listen up. Kiba, Shino and Hinata, you guys take on the thugs and stop them from entering the village. Anko and I will take on Zabuza. No doubt he wouldn't hold back this time. Kurenai sensei, can you take care of that Hunterman? Naruto said, taking control of the situation. Everyone nodded, saying that they would take care of their part in the fight. Zabuza cursed. Damn that brat, he came up with a good way to fight, he thought. He wondered if the blonde was some kind of genius making up such a plan in just a few seconds' time. He would not take any risks this time. He would go all out straight from the beginning. He couldn't afford any more mistakes on his part. He looked at the nin, a young boy called Haku next to him, and knew that the kid was in for a though fight. Even with his special bloodline, fighting a genjutsu specialist would be dangerous. He hoped the kid would survive. He needed him for his plans. He didn't care less about any of the men that Gato had ordered him to take. For all he cared, they could just get themselves killed, which was a likely outcome since they would face 3 shinobi. Sure, they were genin, but they were shinobi nonetheless, so chances of them winning were small. Then he started to think about his own fight. Facing a strong genin like that brat and a junin of Mitarashi's level would be dangerous to say the least. Suddenly, without any visible sign, all hell broke loose. The 3 other genin had rushed in to start the attack on those thugs. Zabuza let them pass without even blinking an eye at them. They were not his opponent. Haku calmly made his way over to his opponent, leaving Zabuza alone with Naruto and Anko. So brat, we meet again, and let me assure you this time I won't go easy on you. I was careless last time and paid heavily for that one, but I guess I can only blame myself. But now the fight really begins. I hope you got stronger over the past 2 weeks, cause otherwise you won't last very long. Zabuza said, addressing Naruto. Give it your best shot, Zabuza. We will take on everything you've got and more, but in the end we will be the ones who will still be breathing at the end of the day. You, however, will not be leaving this place, Naruto said, smirking. While he said this, he slowly unsheathed his sword and took a battle stance. Anko took out a kunai and got into position as well. Zabuza snorted at Naruto's answer and took a firm hold of his sword. For about 2 seconds they stared into each other's eyes and shot forward. The sound of 2 swords colliding filled the area and marked the start of the battle that would be told for years to come and would be one of the biggest moments in the history of the wave. Naruto and Zabuza had attacked at the same time and were now trying to overpower the other one. Zabuza, being taller, stronger and older, had the advantage and started to push Naruto back. Just as he was about to overpower Naruto, he felt someone coming in from behind and had to evade a blow to the back. Anko, who had hoped to get him in the back, missed and had to quickly block a kick from Zabuza. Naruto had taken the time to rest from the power struggle and was now ready to counterattack again. He pushed forward and tried to catch Zabuza with a horizontal blow aimed at his chest. Zabuza easily blocked the sword and retaliated with a punch to Naruto's face. Getting hit hard in the jaw, Naruto stumbled backwards, a little woozy from the blow. Zabuza, seeing this, gripped his sword and prepared to cut Naruto in half, but before he even got close, he got hit in the face from Anko's heel. Damn it, they work good together. One attacks while the other rests up and waits for an opening or to protect the other. This is bad. I need to find something to separate them. Zabuza furiously thought. If this kept up, he would lose, he realized. He attacked Naruto again, trading blows with him while trying to come up with a plan. Kiba, Shino and Hinata, who were fighting a large number of enemies, had quickly come up with a strategy to fight. Okay, we need to stop these guys from entering the village. Even though they're just thugs and bandits, there's a lot of them, so we need to be careful. Shino, any ideas on how to handle this? Kiba asked his teammate. He knew that Shino always remained calm and usually could come up with a good strategy. I have a strategy that could work. You and Hinata attack them head on, separate them and take them down. While you guys do that, I will guard the rear and take out those few who get past the 2 of you. I'll also order my bugs to attack and distract those who you'll be fighting. Hinata, show them what the Yukin is capable of and don't hold back. Kiba, you and Akamaru, show them what teamwork is all about. Shino said, finishing his talk. Kiba and Hinata nodded, knowing that this would be a very good way to fight a large number of enemies, and prepared themselves for a long fight. Since there were so many of them, they would have to be careful, but they were sure they could win. They wouldn't let their senseis and Naruto down. They had a job to do and they would do it right. Seeing that the men were ready to attack, the 3 genin got ready as well. Kiba and Akamaru used Juujin Bunshin no Jutsu, which had freaked out some of the men who were watching. He and Akamaru then started to attack the mob with Gatsuga, which proved to be very effective in hurting them. Hinata started out with a very nice Kaiten Gukakyu no Jutsu, which forced the mob to separate so that they wouldn't get burned. This made it easier for her to fight them with her Yukin. Shino ordered his bugs to start draining the enemy's chakra. His bugs also acted as a distraction to aid his teammates. After several minutes, several thug had been neutralized and the ones remaining started to have second thoughts about fighting these young shinobi. They had expected an easy fight and then to be able to destroy the village and have some fun. Coming here now seemed to be a big mistake on their part. Kurenai was annoyed at the way her fight was going. They had been fighting for a few minutes now and neither of them had succeeded in landing a hit. The shinobi in front of her was scared, she admitted. He was fast, agile and had very good reflexes. He was also very scared with his senbon, using them the same way she used a kunai. Charging forward for another blow, they both met in mid-attack. Senbon met kunai and neither of them was willing to move an inch. You are very scared and strong, Kurenai-san. It's an honor to fight you. The masked boy said to Kurenai. I could say the same thing to you. Those senbon are very annoying. Kurenai said, returning the compliment. You're strong, Kurenai-san, most likely stronger than myself, but unfortunately for you I have an advantage in this fight. The boy admitted. Kurenai was surprised. What did he mean with advantage? Could he mean a advanced bloodline limit? If so, then this could be bad for her, she realized. She saw him lower his free hand and starting to do one-handed seals. She didn't expected the boy to know such difficult hand seals. One-handed seals were very different from normal seals and several times harder to perform, yet this boy seemed to do them with ease. Hearing him yelling out, Sensatsu Sushu, 1,000 needles made from water appeared and were headed for her. She quickly focused chakra to her legs and jumped away from the needles. This was dangerous, she thought. If this boy is a water elemental, then she had as good as lost the fight. Since they were on a bridge, he had an infinite supply of water all around them. Giving him no time to use the jutsu again, she charged. While everyone was fighting, Inari, however, was in deep thought. After he gotten over the fact that he had been yelled at by Naruto, he had started thinking about what Naruto had said. He was coming to the conclusion that everything Naruto had told him seemed true. 2 days after being yelled at, he had accompanied his mom when she went to town for shopping. Ever since his dad was executed, he hadn't been to town, so when he saw kids younger than him on the street begging for food or some money, he felt really ashamed of himself. Naruto was right, he thought, I'm nothing but a spoiled kid. He asked his mom if he could give some of his pocket money to the kids. When she heard that, she hugged him and said that she had never been so proud of him as she was now. When Inari saw the little kid's face light up as he gave her some money, he promised that he wouldn't run or complain anymore. Since then he had been thinking about how he should apologize to Naruto for saying those awful things to him. But even now he hadn't come up with a good way and it was frustrating him. Suddenly he heard something breaking downstairs. He went down to check if his mom was okay when he saw 2 samurai holding him, mom trying to take her away. He started panicking. They wanted to take his mom away from him and probably hurt her. He couldn't allow that to happen. Gato had already taken his dad away from him, no way would he allow his mom being taken as well. He would have to fight, but how? He was just a kid, what could he do against 2 grown-up men? Seeing as they almost left the house, he decided that he would do whatever he could. Grabbing a weapon of some sort, he ran down the stairs after them. He then yelled out that he wouldn't let them take his mom. Tsunami saw Inari charging the 2 men and feared for the life of her only son. He was just a boy, he couldn't win this fight. Well, what do we have here? A boy trying to be a hero and save him mommy. Go home, kid, there's nothing you can do to save your mom. If you attack us, we will KO you. So be a good kid and go back inside. We were just ordered to take your mom, so there's no need for you to s. One of the men said. I'm not letting you take my mom. It's my duty to protect her. My dad told me to take care of her and I will, even if I s. Inari bravely said. Look, kid, do whatever you think you have to do, but know this, I will not hold back even if you're a kid. Hurry up, we were promised some fun with your mom. The man holding Tsunami said. The man next heard a young masculine voice coming from the person he held capture in his arms, saying that he didn't swing that way. Both of the attackers looked and saw that instead of holding Tsunami, they were now hold a young boy with blonde hair. Before they could even begin to understand what happened, a knife embedded itself into their skull, causing them to s instantly. One of Naruto's cage bunshin had used the Kawarimi no Jutsu on Tsunami and had taken her place without anyone noticing. Since Tsunami and Inari were now safe, the other clones had finished the job. When Inari asked what was going on, one of the bunshin said that they were ordered by the original Naruto to protect Inari and his mom. Tsunami and Inari couldn't help but feel very thankful to Naruto for thinking of them. Inari would thank Naruto for everything he had done the moment he got back, he promised himself. Back on the bridge, Naruto was getting tired. Even with 2-on-1, Zabuza proved to be a very difficult and dangerous opponent. blocking the hard and powerful blows of Zabuza's sword ate away at his chakra, and the muscles in his arms and shoulders were in pain from having to block such blows. Anko as well was getting tired. That damn mist shinobi was stronger than she originally thought. They would have to finish this quickly if they wanted to survive. She noticed Naruto making a sign that meant that he wanted her to distract Zabuza for a brief moment. She had no idea what he was planning, but she trusted him with her life. If he wanted her to distract Zabuza, then that was what she would do. Letting out a shout, she charged him. She started doing handseals and used Kaiten, Hausenka no Jutsu, and fired several balls of fire in Zabuza's direction. This forced him to back up and shield behind his sword so he wouldn't get burned. Seeing he was shielding himself with his sword, she quickly used Sene Jashu to grab him. This jutsu was one of the jutsu she learned from Orochimaru. It allowed her to summon snakes out of her sleeves which shot at the opponent. The snakes would bite and grab him, and she would be able to pull him towards her. Zabuza, who was shielding himself from the balls of fire, didn't have time to block or destroy the many snakes that now were biting and grabbing him. Suddenly he felt himself being pulled forward and he flew right into Anko's fist, who practically shattered his jaw. Crashing down, he stood up holding his jaw with his hand, trying to bite off the pain. Anko suddenly heard Naruto yelling for her to move to her right. Losing no time, she jumped as far as she could to her right side. Next thing she knew, she felt a huge gust of wind passed right next to her. Naruto had been preparing for his next attack and was now waiting for an opening. When he saw Zabuza flying back from Anko punch to the face, he knew it was now or never. Yelling to Anko to get out of the way, he raised his sword. Zabuza heard the blonde yell at his teammate and looked up. He had been hit hard enough for him to actually see stars around his head. He heard the blonde call out his next attack. But seeing as he was standing a fair distance from him, he figured he would have time to block or evade the incoming attack. Naruto brought his sword down yelling, Tengoku Seiden Kei's no Jutsu, and watched as his attack harmlessly passed Anko. Zabuza, however, wasn't so lucky. When he saw the brat bringing his sword down, he realized that this was a long-range attack. Cursing, he tried to get up, but still hurting from the hit in his face, all he could do was once again hiding behind his faithful sword. When the attack made impact, however, he couldn't hold on and flew several feet backwards, crashing into the bridge once again. He couldn't believe the raw power of this attack. It had literally blown him away. What the hell was that? It knocked my right off my feet. Who the hell is this kid? I didn't block that, it would have cleaved me in half. Where does that kid get such power? Zabuza thought. Naruto cursed. He had intended to finish the fight right there, but Zabuza had managed to block his Tengoku Seiden Kei's no Jutsu. Now he would be on his guard and it would be difficult to use the technique again. Using that technique took a lot of chakra, and it wasn't like he could do it all day long. Though Zabuza didn't know about the two other techniques he had, he would have to be careful not to waste them by using them too soon. Anko whistled, seeing the power of Naruto's attack. It seemed to be as strong as she thought it would be. Too bad Zabuza had managed to get away, but they would try again. Zabuza grabbed his sword that he had fallen out of his hands when he landed, but when he picked it up he froze. He took a closer look and saw a crack in his sword. Impossible. This sword is one of the strongest swords in the mist, and it got cracked by that attack. How is this even possible? Nothing has ever damaged his sword before. Zabuza told himself when he saw the crack. If he took any more of those attacks, his sword would eventually break into pieces. While Zabuza inspected his sword, Naruto and Anko wasted no time and started the combined attack again. Naruto, who had also seen the crack in Zabuza's sword, tried to focus on further cracking the blade, while Anko focused on injuring Zabuza. Even with the recent hits he received, Zabuza proved to be an excellent shinobi and fought back while trying to hold his ground. He brought down his sword towards Anko, but Naruto appeared in front of her, blocking the sword. Anko immediately reacted and kicked Zabuza in the ribs. Satisfied when she heard the noise of one or more ribs breaking, she backed away. Naruto too jumped backwards and make a clone, both taking their battle stance again. Wincing when he felt his ribs break, Zabuza saw Naruto getting ready to do his attack again. Seeing the clone take the same stance, he figured that they would do the attack twice. So even when he evaded the first blow, he would have to deal with the second one. He remembered how the brat brought his sword down from right to left, so if he simply leaned to his left he would be okay. The kick to the ribs had severely slowed him down, and if he tried to move too quickly he would only make it hurt worse. So he would dodge the attacks by a minimum of movement. Anko, seeing the stance of Naruto's second technique, jumped behind Naruto, making sure she was out of harm's way. The second she was behind Naruto, he and his clone brought down their sword and yelled, "Tenju Seidenkei's no Jutsu." Hearing a different name than the first time, Zabuza realized he made a big mistake. He saw something X-shaped heading towards him, and having no other choice he once again put his sword in front of him, hoping it would stop the attack. He braced himself, but when he felt the attack hitting him he realized that there was no way he would be able to remain standing. Crashing into the hard surface of the bridge, he gasped at the pain his ribs gave him and asked himself why he ever took this job. Sitting up, he grabbed the handle of his sword, glad that it had survived the blow, but when he lifted it he heard it break into several pieces. He had lost this fight. No way he could win now. Naruto made 4 more clones, so now there were 6 Narutos standing on the bridge. Each one took their sword and held it in front of them, pointing towards Zabuza. Naruto decided to give the man a chance to surrender and save his life. "This is the end, Zabuza. Surrender and I will spare your life. Otherwise I will be forced to end your life on this very bridge," Naruto said. "That's one thing I can't do, brat. I'm a proud shinobi and to surrender would be a disgrace. I have fought proudly and I will the same way," Zabuza answered. "Very well, since that's the choice you made, you leave me no choice. But know this, Momoki Zabuza, it was an honor fighting a strong shinobi as yourself. I have learned a lot from our fights and for that I thank you. Know also that my next attack was inspired by you," Naruto said, giving Zabuza a small bow of the head, showing his respect to the defeated shinobi. He and each clone took a stance which Anko recognized as the stance for his third technique. "This is it. Haiden Uzumaki style, Gingakei Seidenkei's Dangan no Jutsu." 1. Naruto yelled, and with that every Naruto's sword LD the air and create 6 air bullets which impacted Zabuza only a second later. Anko saw the 6 Narutos perform his third Kenjutsu technique, and when she looked at Zabuza, 6 holes had appeared in his upper body. Each hole had targeted an organ that, if injured, was lethal. Zabuza's heart, liver, kidneys and lungs were punctured by Naruto's jutsu. One of those wounds was lethal, but all 6 of them meant instant death. She wondered when Naruto learned this move and why he didn't show it to her. Naruto dispelled his clones and fell on his knees. He truly wished Zabuza would surrender, but it wasn't meant to be. He did understand Zabuza's reasoning, however. For a shinobi, death with honor was acceptable. And as a swordsman he lived by the sword and he would by it. Zabuza knew and understood this better than anyone. Still he regretted King the man. He would never get used to King, he was sure of that. Anko went over and hugged him, telling him that he had done the right thing. He allowed the man to with dignity, and that was all Zabuza wanted. He nodded and got up, saying that they should help their team members. Anko nodded and made her way over to Kurenai while Naruto went to join Kiba and the rest. Kurenai and her opponent found themselves almost evenly matched. Until now neither of them was able to take the advantage on the other. But that changed when Haku used his bloodline limit to its fullest possibilities. He had made several mirrors of ice around Kurenai, making it look like she was in the of a large dome. All around and above her were mirrors, and it was worrying her. She had no idea what was going to happen. She saw her opponent back away until he reached a mirror, and shocked she saw him get inside it. He then told her that this was his ultimate bloodline jutsu and that it was unbeatable. Kurenai looked around, trying to find a way to escape this very dangerous situation. She quickly turned around and tried to run towards the free space between the mirrors on the other side of the dome, when she thought she had made Haku already appeared in the mirror before her. "Trying to run is useless, Kurenai-san. When I use this jutsu I'm at least twice as fast than I normally am. There is no way you'll be able to outrun me here," Haku announced. Kurenai forced herself to calm down. There had to be a way to defeat these mirrors. Maybe she could melt them with a fire jutsu, but she doubted it. Trying it would be a waste of chakra in her opinion, and she needed every bit of it. She grabbed a kunai in each hand and waited for his attack. Not a second later she felt a sharp pain in her shoulder. Looking at what might have caused it, she saw a senbon sticking out of it. She quickly pulled it out, but no sooner Haku disappeared from the mirror before her and started to appear in several other mirrors. The next thing she knew, several senbon had espered her all over her body. Damn it, I can't even see him move. How many of those senbon does he have with him? This is crazy, I need to do something quick or else this will end bad. Kurenai said, trying to think of something. She started to protect her vitals but couldn't prevent from getting hit several times. Haku, who had been throwing senbon upon senbon at Kurenai, was getting tired. This jutsu needed a lot of chakra to maintain, and he might need chakra if he needed to help Zabuza fight the rest of these leaf shinobi. He needed to end this fight. He moved out a mirror to end the fight, but just then he looked outside his dome and he saw Zabuza about getting hit from that blonde guy's attack. He stopped his advance on Kurenai, and when he saw that Zabuza wouldn't or couldn't move, he ran past Kurenai trying to reach him in time. Kurenai, however, had seen Haku slow down and stop, and she quickly cast a genjutsu on the exit he was running to, making it so that he would run straight at her instead of outside. She held out her kunai and ran towards Haku. When they met, Haku ran straight into the kunai, piercing his heart, killing him. She saw the mirrors were starting to break and disappear, so she calmly walked outside the dome. When she got outside, she saw Anko heading towards her and smiled, happy that both of them had survived. Kiba, Hinata and Shino had devastated the small army of thugs. Kiba and Akamaru tore through their ranks like they weren't even there. Hinata had defeated several thugs with her yuken, and with every enemy she defeated, her self-confidence grew by leaps and bounds. Seeing that she could fight using the yuken told her that she wasn't weak or useless like she had thought she was. Thanks to Naruto and the rest of the team, she had become stronger over the last 2 weeks, and it showed. Shino stood there looking at the way Hinata defeated enemy after enemy, finding it hard to believe how she could think that she was weak and useless. Judging by the number of enemies still standing, he saw that they had defeated about 3/4 of them. The remaining ones didn't seem too eager to continue the fight, but he wouldn't let them escape. He ordered his bugs to attack them. All of the sudden they heard someone yell, saying that this was the end. Everybody stopped fighting to look what was happening. Everybody saw Zabuza getting hit with Naruto's attack and saw him falling down. Even the thugs knew that he wouldn't get back up, and it scared them so much that they started to run towards the edge of the bridge, trying to board the boat on which they got here. Hinata, Kiba and Shino prevented them from doing just that and defeated them in record time. They saw Naruto coming their way and decided to meet him halfway. Anko and Kurenai were running towards them as well. They all met in the middle of the bridge, each one more exhausted than the next, but they were all alive and relatively unhurt, and that was what mattered most. Kurenai was about to congratulate everybody for a job well done when they heard clapping. They turned around and saw several dozen men standing there with weapons and one man with a cane. Well, it seems Zabuza and his brat were as useless as I thought him to be. But I suppose I should thank you guys for taking him out in my place. You saved me quite some trouble. Gato laughed loudly, finding the whole situation very amusing. The leaf shinobi couldn't believe their bad luck. Just as they thought the battle was over, this happens. They were exhausted, and having to fight this many men again would be very hard and dangerous. Just as they prepared for an attack, an arrow hit Gato right between the eyes. Turning their heads, they saw the whole village standing there, armed to the teeth and ready to fight for their country. Apparently Tazuna and Inari had rounded up every villager to come and fight Gato and his men in order to restore peace in their lives. Seeing that the thugs were getting scared by the number of villages, Naruto decided to help out a little and made as much cage bunshin as he could. In an instant, several dozen clones popped into existence and took out their sword and got ready to attack. The large number of villages and clones was enough to scare the thugs, so they hurriedly got onto the boat and left. After dismissing the clones, Naruto fell down on the ground, exhausted and hurting all over his body. Hinata, Kiba and Shino sat down next to him, tired and sleepy as well. All 4 of them were grinning like crazy though. They had fought an amazing enemy and they had won. They felt really proud of themselves. Not even 5 minutes later, all 4 of them had fallen asleep and never felt how they were carried back to Tazuna's house like heroes. Hiden Uzumaki style, Gingake Seiden Kei's Dangan no Jutsu, means, secret Uzumaki style, wind bullets that LS the galaxy. This is the first secret technique of Naruto's Kenjutsu style. He makes 5 cage bunshins and each one performs the Kei's Dangan no Jutsu. So 6 bullets impact the enemy's body, but each bullet is aimed at a vital point. Naruto based this technique on Zabuza's Silent King style. He aims the bullets at the heart, lungs, liver and kidneys, making getting hit by this technique an instant death. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.